Well, why do you believe it?
Yup, you convinced me.
I know, right?
I mean, there's no reason to
I don't.
lie.
I don't think he's being serious. Is he trolling? Is he joking? Is he?
It. I believe in the moon landing, so
Oh yeah.
they took a picture from the moon of the Earth. Doesn't get any easier than that, right? But why it wouldn't be fake? You can't fake all that.
It actually does get easier because they can take a picture just from a satellite, and they don't even have to go as far as the moon.
Yeah. They don't even have to go as far as the moon. Go halfway to.
Yeah, but NASA in 1972 is. I've seen the pictures.
Be
Last
serious.
moon mission.
Not even being. Not even being serious. Though.
Yeah, I am being serious. We have pictures of the Earth from the moon. Like, what do you mean? Why does it have to go deeper than that?
Why do
They
you have to
wouldn't
say
lie.
real pictures?
Because that's when they said they took a real picture of the Earth. The satellites,
Yeah,
I
it's a
heard
little
those are
sus that you had to specify that the pictures were real.
well, because when I looked at NASA's other pictures, they said they weren't real. They said they were stitched together, so there wasn't like a whole image, right? But they said the whole image they did take of the Earth from space was in the moon missions.
Which one specifically did they say was stitched?
Anyway, welcome to
Um,
Flat Earth.
I don't know what you mean.
Don't believe the picture of space, dude.
I believe in the pictures in space. I mean, some of them are, there's discrepancies, right? So they're not all of them can be real, obviously, but
Not
some of
all of
them
them can be
are.
real.
Well, they can't be, right? So if there's a discrepancy, one of the pictures has to be false. But if I have two pictures and one's completely different from the other, and I said they're the same thing, I don't know. That's a discrepancy, isn't it? Is it not? So I can't believe in both pictures. I gotta take one or the other, right? I don't know. Thought that was logical. It's like if you're looking at a house, you're about to buy a house, you go there, and it's a completely different house. Like you can't say that house was there that you saw online. That's a discrepancy. Must have had like the wrong address, right? Yeah.
But seriously, what's the evidence for the globe?
Well, I mean, geodetic surveying. I mean, seen
Ah,
boats go over
geodetic
the
surveying. How
curve.
does that work?
I don't know. I've seen people talk about it. Sailors have coordinate systems, and they use the globe all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
How do they do that then?
I don't know. They just told me.
Uh, Going with what you believe, right? What you were told.
Oh, well, why? I mean, what else do I need?
Think for
But
yourself. You ever tried that?
no, see, that's
Oh
too
no,
big of a
you've never
secret to
tried
hide.
thinking for yourself, have you?
If the Earth were a different shape, someone would have come out by now. They would have said something.
What, like Robotham?
Well, why would anybody lie? That just sounds retarded.
Because they want to control the way you think.
There's no gain of doing something like that.
Well, it's quite funny because you don't see the gain; they see the gain in controlling you.
Nah, I have my own thoughts. I don't care.
No, but they see the benefit in controlling you, where you don't see the benefit. Why they'd want to control you? You're like, what am I? I'm not that important. Why would they want to control me? Right?
There's no point. The Earth could be a donut. Who cares, really? I live here. That's it. Why
No,
does
but
it
you're
matter?
like me. I'm like nobody. Why on earth would they want to control me? I mean,
Well, I'm saying there's nothing to control. Like the Earth
that's
could
what I
be a
mean. Yeah, that's what I'm
pizza. I
saying.
still live here. Like who cares?
That's what I'm saying. So that's why how you're seeing it. Like, what you want about control? Who am I to control, right?
I'm saying there's nothing to control. The Earth could be a square, a cube, a pizza. Like it doesn't. That's it. I'm not going to space. You're not going to space. No one's going up there.
Yeah,
So why does it matter within my lifetime? Who cares what
we
it
know
is?
no one's going to space. It doesn't exist.
But who cares? I mean, no one's going there anyway. So why does it matter what I stand
The
on?
globe earthers care. They defend this lie every day. Every day. Every day there is a
Who
globe
cares?
defending this lie.
Who cares? I mean, we all breathe the same air. We all eat the same foods.
Well, somebody cares because they're spending a lot of money to leave you.
Money's money. I can make money. I can spend money. I don't spend money on a rocket.
Yeah, but you can't make enough money. Influence others.
I don't care to influence others.
Influence others. Don't make that much, right?
I mean, I'm not a philanthropist by the means of what you see today. No. And why does it really matter what the Earth is?
Oh, because it depends on how you view yourself. Like, if you're insignificant, because you're actually special, but you don't know it, right? Just by how you saying, you're like, oh, well, what's the big deal? Who am I? Why do they want to?
Oh, I know I'm special.
Hey?
I know that. I already know I'm special. So
What kind of special?
Well, I have spirit. I mean, I have dreams, beliefs.
But everyone has that.
Know.
Special, like unique, or special slow?
Everyone's unique. Like intuition,
Not
gut
really.
feeling,
Not
like
everyone's unique. No. Not when it comes to this question on the globe. Not everyone's unique. No, most people follow the herd, and the flat earthers are the unique ones for pointing out that there's no evidence, right?
Yeah, flat earthers are all being unique together.
Well, I'm just saying that's the idea, is that the flat earthers are pointing these things out, whereas you're not really special, or because you haven't done anything that, you haven't noticed anything, recognized anything, have you? What have you done to say, oh yeah, I noticed it? Still there?
I guess I don't really understand now.
What's your name? B? Oh, Carl.
It's cursed. It's a cursed name.
Oh.
I tried to find the weird text, and I found it.
Yeah, I mean, so unique in terms of globe. It's nothing special here. You're just parroting what you've heard, like you just said. We went to the moon, got pictures. We've been able we've been able to point out none of that is real.
Who cares? What does it matter either way?
Well, it matters because you're telling a lie. You're saying we've got.
No, I mean, I don't care either way. So it's not like I say or defend it.
Why would you lie though?
I don't lie to myself. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, but you still lied. It matters to me. Why did you lie?
Oh, which part was the lie?
You got pictures from space.
Yeah, sure. But I don't really care about it.
But that's a lie.
I didn't take
Why
the
would
picture.
you lie?
I don't. When I say we, I don't literally mean like I was with them. Like it's their picture.
What do you mean? And I'm asking, why would you lie?
Why is it a lie? When I said we, I don't mean me physically. Obviously, I didn't take the picture.
Mm-hmm. So just a belief then.
Sure. My thing. It doesn't matter. Like, who cares?
Well, it does matter because you've just lied about it. That's the whole point. That's what matters, is when people like you just lie and then say, "Oh,
I didn't say I took the picture.
That I lied. I can just make up lie. It doesn't matter."
No, I didn't take the picture. I didn't.
You're not getting the point. We now are arguing because you lied. Yeah? That's the very point of it. The fact that you lied and just said, "Oh yeah, wow, we've got pictures," But that's not true. We don't have pictures of the Earth, do we? Nobody knows what the Earth looks like.
Who says that? How do they know?
How do we know what the Earth looks like?
How would they know?
How would who
Did they
know?
go to space?
What?
Did they go to space and see what the Earth looks like?
Space. What is space?
I don't know. Space.
Don't know.
Yeah, I've seen the movies.
Yeah, we've all seen Gravity, the movie. So, look. In reality,
Space.
what is space? Describe it to me.
Just like the movies.
What, like Star Trek?
Oh yeah, float around, you know,
Star Wars?
all the fun stuff.
You like
Airlocks,
Star
all
Wars?
that.
So you see,
Get sucked out.
the most important point is that you lied for no good reason. You don't even know why you lied, you just lied. And that's where we are now. The people in power probably don't even know they're lying, just like you, just lied and said, oh yeah, we've got pictures, but I just can't verify it. That's part of the lie, because nobody can verify these pictures. These pictures cannot go to a place and actually take these pictures. You don't even know what space is. Actually, what space is, or I don't know. Just what they tell us on the
So then what is the proof if not pictures?
Sorry?
What is the proof if not pictures?
I'm asking you about your picture.
The pictures don't work anymore, so I'm asking what is the better proof than a picture?
Well, first of all, why did you lie?
About what? I did say there are fake pictures, and I said there are real pictures.
Right, that is a lie. There are no real pictures of the Earth.
Well, I can't know that I'm lying if I don't know that they're all fake.
Right,
Wouldn't I have to know that they're all fake first before that was a lie? Wouldn't I have to know that they're fake first?
Not that they're fake, but it's not possible. They're not. It's like painting, so it's not fake, is it?
What do you mean?
It's like an artist's impression.
Yeah, that's the ones I said are fake. So like, there's photographs,
It's not fake,
and there's
is it?
like,
It's just an artist's impression of what they think something looks like.
that's not a photograph.
No, it's not a photograph. Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, as I said, some of them are stitched together, and some of them are actual photographs.
Right. So again, that's a lie.
I don't know I'm lying because all I've ever seen is either or. I don't know that they're all one thing or another.
Okay. So how are you going to validate it right now? Make sure it's a lie or truth.
NASA told me. I don't know.
But NASA
says it's
how are you going
real.
to validate what NASA tell you?
I don't know. I would have to go. I would have to go to space.
Which is not possible, right?
Not right now.
Or ever.
No. I seen Jeff Bezos go.
Went into the sky.
Yeah, that's where space is.
Sky is space.
Well, eventually.
So there's air in space.
Well, now you just go further out into the sky until it's no longer that much of the sky anymore.
Yeah, up and up and up through the gas, through the atmosphere. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then what? There's no gas.
And you're in space eventually.
What? No gas.
I don't see a problem with that.
Are you just making these things up? Because I'm going to call you a liar if you don't know what you're talking. Tell me if you're just making them up. You're just thinking this how it works.
Well, I don't know where space starts or ends.
You don't know
You
this.
go up and then there it is.
So you're guessing, yeah?
That's what I'm told. I mean, how can I know?
Yeah. Based on how I attack you. If it's just based on, I was just told, I have no idea, just my belief, then I can't attack your religious belief, right? But if you were of the mind of, oh yeah, I know for a fact we've got pictures, I know for a fact we're on a ball, that's a different subject, right? But you're like, I don't know, I'm not really sure. Just what I was told, right?
No reason to really lie.
Well, you just lied, you had no reason.
I didn't. I would have to know that they're all fake before I knew it was a lie.
Well,
I believe it's real.
How can you believe something that doesn't exist?
I'd have to know it doesn't exist first to be a liar.
Okay, what is space?
No, it's a place outside of the Earth. It's a
What, the air we
place.
breathe?
And it's outside of the Earth. So
Yeah,
eventually,
outside of the earth, the air.
yeah. So eventually, you go away from the Earth far enough, and
Yeah.
then you get space.
How far?
And no idea. It's up there somewhere.
Okay, so you've got this air, and then you've got space.
Yep.
Okay, so why doesn't the gas fill the space?
Gravity. Who knows?
Gravity. What is gravity?
I don't know.
How do you know it's doing a job then?
I don't know. That's what teacher said. That's what the teacher said.
Okay. Question your teacher. Did you ask them for more details?
Nope.
That's what we're talking about. You're not able to think critically. Hold something, right?
It's like asking if a tree is made of wood. Like,
What if I said the tree is made of plastic?
wouldn't it not be
Would you ask
a tree anymore?
Would you ask questions?
Huh?
If your teacher said trees are made of plastic, would you go, uh-huh? Or would you say, huh? What do you mean? Explain. Or would
Maybe
you say,
she had a
that's
picture
what
of a
my
plastic
teacher
tree or
told me.
something.
What?
Maybe she had like a picture of a plastic tree, or I could go see it. I don't know.
No, just
I got a plastic tree in my attic.
Just a painting.
I mean, it's like a Christmas tree, right? Like, I don't know if it's a
Yeah.
real tree, but if she said it, that's a plastic,
plastic
tree.
tree.
Yeah, I'd have to like, I don't know, move the branch or something.
What is wood then? Where does wood come
No
from?
idea. It comes from trees. That's about
But
it.
trees are plastic, remember?
No, just that one.
Well, if trees are plastic, where does wood come from?
Wouldn't know.
Carl, stay with us. That's heartbeat check. Pulse. So if trees are made of plastic, Carl, how are you going to explain where wood comes from?
Well, you wouldn't know then in that case.
You wouldn't know. I see what you did there.
You wouldn't know.
Oh,
Yes.
I did not.
You didn't realise what he did there. He wouldn't know. Very good.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. So look, that's my point. That's the point here, Carl. Is you're just believing the trees are plastic without actually checking to see if the trees are plastic.
It's wood.
Yeah.
Wow, what's the point of checking though, really? I mean, if it's not going to make a difference in my life, who cares?
I suppose if trees are plastic, then so is wood.
Wood? Wood's not plastic.
What is
Oh.
wood?
If the trees are, then so is the wood.
Trees are plastic though. We've just
And that means wood is.
no. Wood's not plastic.
What is wood, Kimo? Can you tell us?
Wood is from a tree.
But trees are
Therefore, it's
plastic.
plastic.
So that's
Yeah.
That's what you were taught. I'm saying to you that if you critically think,
I have a plastic tree.
you'll
I have a
realise that
plastic tree.
trees are not made from wood, from plastic.
Maybe you should double check your logic before you try this.
I have a plastic tree. I mean, is that made of wood?
Is it an actual tree though? I mean, does it have roots?
What's an actual tree? Do all trees have
What an
roots?
actual tree? Here we go.
If I
Here
cut
we
down
go.
a tree,
What is a tree? Oh my goodness.
I once cut
Uh-huh.
down a tree.
Does your
It didn't have
plastic
roots
tree have
anymore. Did it turn into
seeds
plastic?
to grow another plastic tree?
It has what do you call them that you have, like not acorns, like the things that fall from the
Chestnuts.
tree. No, not chestnuts.
Seeds.
Fuck, I don't
Pine
know.
cones.
Pine cones, yeah, pine cones, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it
but
has some
does your
plastic
plastic
pine
tree have roots? Trees
No,
have
it has.
roots.
Do they?
Didn't you know that trees have roots?
So if I cut down a tree, it stops being wood because it doesn't have roots anymore.
No.
I tried a
it's
plastic
not
tree.
a tree now.
My
It's
plastic
wood.
tree has 3 plastic bits that spread
Now
out from
wood,
the bottom. Those are
Momo.
roots,
It's not
right?
a tree anymore.
Oh, we have a plastic tree with the roots now. Shit.
No. If you chop down a tree, then it's now wood.
Yeah.
We call them logs. Oh man, it's not a
Log.
tree anymore. It's a log. Yeah,
Okay.
you understand?
So
Log.
trees
It's a
aren't wood
log.
before you
It's
cut
a
them
log,
down.
Mole Man. It's not
Got
a tree anymore. Yeah, you understand?
It's not a tree anymore.
No, if we chop
Can I-
down the tree, chop it down, we've now got a log.
Or
So
lumber, right?
I did that to my plastic
Do you have a plastic
Christmas
log?
tree. Is it logs?
How
now?
do you have a plastic log?
Because I cut
Yeah.
down my plastic Christmas tree.
I've got a ceramic
Yeah.
log.
Could you have plastic lumber though?
Yeah.
You can have plastic lumber. How would that work?
I'm talking about plastic logs.
Log
What's
lumber.
the difference between log and lumber?
Log is round, right? Lumber is flat, or a different shape than a log. I don't know how
Marman's
you
learning
define
more
that.
about trees than he ever has in his life. Doesn't even know what a tree is.
Lumber is horizontal, and logs are vertical. I think. Could that be the case?
Uh,
But are the
Depending on the
horizontal ones
orientation.
straight?
I said flat, unlike the log, which is round.
I mean, like a square. Flat.
Either or, yeah.
So, if your teacher told you trees are plastic, would you just accept that part?
Depends on the tree.
Probably not.
What would you do to verify it?
To be honest, that teacher's retarded. I've seen trees before, and they're not plastic.
Okay. What would you do if the teacher said trees are plastic?
She's probably an idiot. I probably won't
Right.
listen to her the rest of the day.
Right. So, if the teacher says, here's a picture of a ball, why don't you say you're an idiot?
Dude, everyone knows it's a ball. Like, what do you mean?
Just like everyone knows trees are plastic.
Well, no, I can go out and touch the tree.
Okay,
I've
so
seen
you took
trees
can you
before.
go out and take a picture of the Earth?
Eventually, someday.
Someday. How would you get through how would you escape the atmosphere?
Commercial space flight
Okay, I'm listening.
happening soon.
Sorry?
It's gonna happen.
I'm asking how. How would you get out of the atmosphere? Got nothing to push off, how would you fly in empty space?
You just take a rocket. I don't know what you mean.
Take a rocket, yeah.
Yeah.
And
You fly. Go up. Then you take a picture. Or why would you have to do all that? Why not just send not yourself up there?
I'm asking how would the rocket work in empty space, in a vacuum?
You mean it just goes?
It just goes.
Yeah, why wouldn't it?
Got nothing to push.
I have-
It's got nothing to push off.
Dude, I've seen the video of a rocket shooting off from the moon. Definitely happens.
How did that happen? And how did it get combustion in a vacuum?
Well, I saw the flame out from underneath it.
Hmm. You know what a
So it
vacuum
must
is?
have
Yeah?
happened somehow.
You understand vacuum?
They suck.
They suck. Well, they're low pressure. Yeah, very very low pressure. Yeah.
And they suck.
Well, your friends would say they don't suck.
My vacuum does suck. I go do it right now. It pulls air in.
No, it's just lowering the pressure, and then the high pressure is moving to the low pressure.
My vacuum sucks, but that's because it gets clogged with hair.
Yeah.
Different type of suck. So you understand vacuums don't suck.
No, because
What?
they do suck.
So let's say we take a vacuum chamber, like a box, empty out all the air, open the lid. What will happen?
It's gonna suck the air in.
How?
I don't know. It's just gonna suck.
How?
It moved. I don't know. Sucking is a verb, isn't it?
Back
That's how
in
it
a minute.
happened.
I'm back in a minute.
like asking me how I got from one place to another, and I said run. Running's a verb. That's how I got there. That's how it happened.
Daddy, I'm back. Carly, you're still here.
Of course I'm here.
Alright. Now, you stupid.
Would that be relative to the information? Like if everybody knew,
Kind of.
everybody knew one thing.
Because if you can't
know?
think for yourself, Carl, then you're going to struggle understanding things in life, right? Because you'll believe almost anything you're told.
No, I know a lot of things that are fake.
Like, for
That are
example, you
built
think the
in there.
Earth is moving, right? Because you were
Sure.
told. Yeah.
I feel it move.
You feel the movement.
Yeah.
How do you
When you
feel?
jump, you jump up. You know the Coriolis will move your body over a little bit.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. You shoot like I've shot bullets. You know, you correct the Coriolis. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's moving, right?
No, the Earth doesn't move, Carl.
Now, who told you that?
Well, there's no way of knowing if the Earth... Do you feel movement? I don't feel movement. You're saying you feel movement.
I mean, I don't feel a car move, but I'm driving 70 miles per hour.
Ah, but you know that you're moving, right?
If I took a nap and woke up, I wouldn't know if I was actually going somewhere or not, or standing still in a drive-through.
Well, if you're asleep, yeah, you're not going to know much.
No, if I woke up in the car, I was blindfolded, I couldn't hear anything, and if I was told or asked if whether or not I was moving, I wouldn't know.
So how would you figure that out? Let's keep you blindfolded. How are you going to know the Earth can't feel it?
Well, if I can't feel the car move, well, how am I gonna feel the Earth move?
Exactly. That's my point. You
Yeah,
can't feel the Earth move. How do you know it's moving?
Oh, but the car is going 70 miles per hour, right? So I could open up the window and drop something.
So that's
It's
how
not
you
gonna
would know
land
the
directly
car
where I
is
dropped
moving.
it.
Yeah, that's how you know the car's moving. How do you know the Earth is moving?
Hmm.
Take your
Take
time.
a hot air balloon, go up,
Mm-hmm.
watch the Earth move.
Well, we tried that with Phoenix Baumgartner. We were 26 miles above the Earth. And
Yeah.
he landed in the same spot, so the Earth didn't move underneath him. That doesn't work. Taking the balloon up to the highest we can go. That's the world record jump. Obviously, if we could have gone higher, you would have gone higher to make a higher jump, right?
I don't know. Maybe someone knows more than me about this.
What? You just have a belief. I mean, again, I'm not really attacking you. I'm just checking out your belief, right?
Well, aren't there other people here that believe what I believe in?
Oh, yeah, they all believe in what you believe in. We know that the rest of the guys have this religion. I'm just checking
Well,
out.
what do they say? Maybe I can get some help. What do they say?
You don't need help. You need to think.
He needs all the help he can get.
Oh, no.
Yeah, what do they say? How did this guy land
Falling
in a
out,
different spot? Who's got a better idea?
It was
I don't
faked.
know.
Yeah, it's simple. It just was faked, and we didn't witness it. Therefore, it was faked. They do it all the time. Actually, they try to invent some experiments. They are fake, so they will try to convince you that the Earth is flat.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking
Kimmel
about
was-
this
there is-
movement.
There is no evidence for that. I mean,
No, I'm
Kimmel
not
was the
talking about
type to
that.
actually
Kimmel-
answer questions. My first question would be, how does he know that he landed directly below where he dropped from?
Kimo doesn't know. Kimo just believes in that.
Wait, so who's talking? Who said that? I'm real?
Yeah, it was me.
I'm real. So what's the best guess then as to why this guy landed in a different spot?
No, that's just not true. They just made that up. You
Who
see,
made it up?
they make some photoshopped pictures. They will try to make.
No, it's
some
true. He
videos.
landed 40 kilometers away from
No, no.
where he took off.
Did you see it?
Yeah, it was right there.
Well then how do I prove the earth is moving then? I'm real. What do I do? What can I do right now?
So you can just tell that you did the same scene and it didn't land on the same spot. And when they ask how do you know, you just say I was right there.
Well, how can I test
So you want
it
him to
right now?
lie?
What do you mean lie? You didn't lie, did you?
I don't know either
No,
way,
not at
so
all.
it wouldn't be a lie. It would just be a guess.
I was right there, sitting in my computer chair, watching it
Could you
on YouTube.
Could you show us any evidence, please? Ah, on YouTube. Okay, so you can also go on YouTube and watch how some machines made by men, they fly into space and film in Earth and so on. So that would be the same kind of evidence.
Yep, and I also read the articles.
Yeah, you can read some other articles as well.
Are you saying news is fake?
Well, I believe that some news are fake, yes.
And how do you suss out the fake from the true?
All the news is
Our
fake, to
news.
be honest.
Why are news on YouTube nowadays? Thought we were talking about YouTube evidence, not news broadcaster evidence or something.
Well, this just sounds like he said, she said. What can I do to prove the earth is moving right now? How can I figure it out?
You could measure it, but
Man, I saw the live stream.
Well, how would I measure it? I don't have the kind of equipment.
yeah, if
You
don't
can
have the
make a
equipment, then
Foucault pendulum on your own and try to watch it moving,
How,
changing its
how does that work?
Well, you just take a long string and put some weight on it and like just make a pendulum and watch it rotating slowly. And
Is it attached to the ground?
No, you attach to, I don't know, to a ceiling or something like this. But if there's
Yeah,
wasn't
but the
moving,
ceiling is
that
attached to the ground.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
would I know?
Well, and
The,
if it wasn't moving, it would just, I mean, it would just move up and down the same space, the same location, and it wouldn't rotate at all. And if you see that it's rotating, that means that that's moving. Ceiling is moving. Ceiling is attached to the ground. That means that the ground is moving as well.
So if the pendulum can move like that, how come I can't sense the earth moving?
Well, you would need some time. You can attach yourself to the ceiling and try to move
Like
like a pendulum. Why
human
not?
pendulum.
Yeah, why not?
So
I can feel the earth
pendulum,
rotate around me. That would be a good thing. I mean, then you'd actually feel the rotation
And
because you
yes,
see the.
so if
and
I just
even
tell you something, this doesn't make any sense because I have like a balloon string, right?
Mhm.
I've attached something to a balloon string, let it sit on the ceiling, and the thing on the bottom never moves.
When if the pendulum is swimming, fuck, I can't speak, swinging, and it's swinging forth and back on a straight line.
Or like, I'll give you a better example. I had a ceiling fan.
Yep.
As a kid, I would attach a string to it, throw something over the other end, and it just dangle there, but nothing moved.
Well, that's not a pendulum. That's a plumb bob.
Yeah,
What's the difference?
One swings.
Pendulum is, yeah.
It swings? I mean, they both can swing if the Earth's moving. I understand.
Not a matter of can, it's a matter of is.
Yeah, if you swing
Well,
away
why would
from
one swing over the other? Well, that doesn't make any sense.
no, a pendulum, like a Foucault pendulum, swings forward and backwards on a straight line. And if the Earth rotates, then you can see precession on that pendulum.
Also, it
Very
already
Foucault.
moves? So I have to swing it back and forth first?
You have to start it first, yes.
Well, if I start it, then how do I know anything's moving? This doesn't make any sense.
Because you see precession.
Well, that's just it. What if it just moved over time? That doesn't even...
Well, it did move over time, so there has to be a cause for the motion.
I don't know about all that.
The pendulum's connected to the Earth, is it not? So it shouldn't
Yep.
precess at all, should it?
It should, because it's not, it's moving in a
It's
straight line, and the
connected.
Earth rotates. Yes.
It is connected to the Earth, so it should not precess, should it?
It should, because the Earth rotates.
And so does the pendulum, because it's connected to the fucking thing.
No, because it doesn't, there's like a hinge that's 360
It
degrees.
is connected to the Earth, so it should not precess, should it?
It should, because if you do that test inside of a van, you get the same exact results if you're driving
It
in a
is
circle,
connected
Brian.
to the Earth, so it should not precess.
No,
And your
Brian.
car's
because
tires are connected to the car, so they shouldn't spin, right?
Yeah,
Talk like a cunt.
No,
Brian.
you're moving it, though.
The
Do you have anything where you don't move it?
pendulum is connected to the surface of the Earth, so it should not precess.
But Brian, if you take a pendulum and swing it inside a transit van and drive into a corner, you'll see precession even though it is connected to the transit van.
You know, I have a problem with this because if I start the movement already, how can then I then decide that, okay, it wasn't actually moving because I pushed it, it was something else.
You started one movement, and then you see another one.
Yeah, I can throw a football, it goes up and then it goes down. It went in two different directions. Like, this doesn't even add up.
So you caused one of those movements, and something else caused the other.
Yeah,
Relative
everything.
density.
Regardless of what it is, you threw it up, and something else pulled it down.
Yeah, so if I swing something, it's going to swing in all directions depending on how I swung it. So me kicking this pendulum,
Well, you don't
I
just
don't.
in any old direction. You have to release it straight.
Well, surely there's
you'll
something better than me starting the movement and then declaring that it moved because of some other reason. Is there something better?
That's the simplest one.
That sounds like a third grader could debunk that. I don't know.
You also have gyro compasses.
How do those work?
Precession of a gyroscope.
The gyro, like on your phone?
No, like a actual spinning gyro.
So it's already moving?
And again, you start one movement, and then you see another one.
Okay, well, is there any way to do it without actually starting the movement?
There's a couple other things.
What are
They
those?
tend to get even harder to do.
Well, then I can't actually prove it at all.
So basically, you're saying that it's hard to see the results of something if you don't do anything, because you have to do something at least to make an experiment. You have to start a movement. You have to make some machine. I don't know. You have to do something to be able to observe something else.
I don't know about all that. tell me all these things can move and they can feel the movement, and they move independently and freely by themselves, even though I started the movement, but I can't feel the movement. And I can't observe the movement without touching anything.
Do you contain a gyroscope or pendulum?
No, I just said all these things are already moving. What can I do without already starting the movement of something?
You get a fiber optic gyro.
So do you understand that when you say I see a movement of something, that means that you see the result of different movements. And if you start one of that movements and then you see something that wasn't the part of the movement that you started, that means that there was something else that makes this movement happens.
Not really. Like, if I throw a curveball really far, it's going in one direction and then it's curving in another.
So
Well,
that
that
means
there's
that
another
there is
force
something.
involved.
Yes, there is another force that makes it happen.
And you are the one that started that movement. So you're seeing a movement that came about because you moved it prior, right? You made that ball spin.
Yeah. So why,
right?
if I'm moving a
And
pendulum and then I see
the
it move,
air. Hold on. The air between you throwing it and the ball's destination has caused that spin to move it as it moves through the air, right? Well, the precession of the focal pendulum is like that too. If you start with the focal pendulum and you don't actually do some sort of initial movement, well, the pendulum is how can I explain this to you? It's at the same frame as the earth that it's planted on. So you're not going to see precession unless you move that pendulum first.
that sounds kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Surely there's something better. That's like me pushing someone off a ledge and saying, "Oh, I
It's not
didn't do it.
ridiculous, no.
I didn't push it. Something else pulled it down."
You can get a
I don't know. I
fiber.
don't.
Well, it depends on what you mean by better. If you're going by simplicity, then it's the best.
Yeah, we're
I
talking
don't know.
about precession of the initial movement by virtue of the Earth spinning.
See, that's, I don't know.
You see,
That doesn't add
the
up.
problem with this example is that it's pretty simple in its realization. So if you find it hard to understand this, you obviously can build something more sophisticated than that, but that would be even harder to understand how it works and what should you observe.
Have you built a Foucault pendulum?
Well, I think we did that. I don't think that it's only me who did that, but we do that. We did that in the school when we were like studying that. And also you can visit some museums or stuff like this. They have like huge pendulums. So if you,
And there's
well,
nothing else that moves it other than you kicked it?
what do you mean?
Some of them are set up to keep it swinging, but they're set up very carefully so that the mechanism doesn't induce any side-to-side motion. Just
I don't know. That just sounds even more fishy.
but that's why I said that's not all of them.
Well, I mean, no, it doesn't sound fishy when if you can isolate, certain movements through, reduce a reduction of friction and so on, then it's actually fine.
I don't know. That sounds like there's a lot of other things to it that could cause it to move.
The ultimate point, though, is that you don't necessarily need to build one yourself. I mean, you can go to various universities and they have focal pendulums you can see there.
How would I know the inner workings of it if I didn't make it?
You could probably ask someone. And if you actually look, there's a couple of videos online. The trick for keeping them going doesn't involve any side-to-side motion at all. It's an up and down motion.
I don't know.
So what's the problem? So at first you say, can I see it somewhere? And if I don't do it myself, and then you say, well, if I didn't do it myself. That's fishy because I don't know who did it and how. So which one you want to
Well,
observe? The ones
if-
that you made yourself or the ones that someone else made for you? You have to choose.
You're telling me something moves because the Earth moved it, even though you kicked it, and then you're keeping it moving.
So
So
that's
You
why.
there's-
kicked it,
So
you
that's
kicked it in one direction and then it changed directions.
Yeah, and then you're also
That's the
telling me
part
in the
you're
same breath
ignoring.
that something else is keeping it moving also.
By jerking it up and down a little bit.
And then how would I know if it's perfectly level, right? What if it's at an angle and it's swinging a little bit in a different direction?
you can do that like 1,000 times, and then you'll be sure that you can't do that exactly the same way all the time. But if you observe the same result and it's moving like it's rotating in the same direction all the time, even with your small adjustments, so you would suspect that there is something else. And it's
Okay,
not.
what about wind, air? I mean, there's so many other things that could just nudge this thing over a little bit. Like none
Yeah.
of this.
That's why they do them inside. The existence of
I mean, I could
some
open a door
pendulums
and maybe
with
it's going to move a
mechanisms
hair.
doesn't invalidate the ones that don't have mechanisms.
Have they done it in a vacuum or
So,
something?
so you do it in different places with different people with different sizes, and they all rotate in the same direction. Would you suggest that somehow there is the same wind that is whirling everywhere with the same speed and in the same direction, or would you think that probably that doesn't change that much?
I would think you're maybe making up the fact that it happens all the time in the same direction.
So that's
Yeah,
why you
doesn't-
can do that yourself. So you wouldn't rely on someone else telling you how it works.
That, to be honest, that just sounds like a really dumb experiment, especially if I'm kicking it already to get it moving. Why can't I just observe it moving without me doing anything?
You see that that's not worse than the experiment with some people in the high balloons that goes up and down and land in the same place. When you see that these people they are like doing that, you don't know, maybe there is some wind as well, but you see that wind somehow magically didn't cause that balloon to land on the same place they started the journey. And
There's always gonna be wind.
they went up 23 kilometers or something else, and regardless of all that winds, of all the stuff, of all the atmosphere, they landed as exactly the same place, and percent even witnessed that.
Wait, why would they land in the same place if the Earth is moving?
Well, you see, that's the thing. Even you just imagine that the Earth is not moving, but all the stuff that you say about the wind, about the conditions, the weather conditions, and stuff like that, but that didn't like they
No,
didn't
no,
change the
I don't think you
fact that they
understand.
landed.
The Earth is moving, so why wouldn't the balloon land somewhere else? You just told me like we take this pendulum, we move it, we know the Earth's moving, but I send a balloon up, and you're telling me it lands in the same spot?
No, percent told you that, I guess. Percent or chemo.
No, you just
Yeah, it
told me
landed
the
like 4
balloon's
kilometers
gonna
away.
land in the same spot.
Yeah, it's the same percent. Did it land at the same spot it started?
Like
It
40
does or it
kilometers
doesn't
away. So
land?
basically, yeah.
Yeah, so and would you say that during that whole journey of 23 kilometers the wind never occurred or something like that?
No, it did. That's why it's 40 kilometers away.
Oh,
But
okay.
basically,
So
yeah.
it just landed at exactly the same place, just 40 kilometers away.
Basically, same place. New Mexico, 40 kilometers away from takeoff.
So that's your answer, Carl. It landed at exactly the same place.
No, you just told me
40
a hot air balloon
kilometers.
will go up.
Just 40 kilometers away.
That's a contradiction.
Well, glad you noticed that.
And
Which
to be
direction
fair,
did it land?
Chemo's the one that said it was exactly the same place. I just clarified it said 40 kilometers away. But basically, yeah.
Wait, so if I took a drone or something, and I wanted to, I don't know, if I had a big enough battery, I could watch the Earth move underneath it.
This is where the story all goes tits up.
No, because it's a powered drone.
You see?
And it's subject to all sorts of different air currents. It's going to try to hover.
But more
And it's
importantly,
subject to
Yeah,
a
that means
bunch
you,
of
inertia.
you got to take that power drone.
Yeah.
You got to fly it inside a building where there isn't all this wind, like a big building, like maybe the
Yeah,
power
it's-
dome.
It's conserving inertia as well because you are launching it from the surface of the Earth that's already rotating.
So
How would that
why
work any
hasn't
different than an airplane?
pendulum got
Well, I suppose maybe if you set it up in like a container to avoid wind on the North Pole, it would slowly rotate once per 24 hours, maybe slightly less due to a little bit of drag.
conservation of momentum? Is that not stored up in the pendulum then that's fixed to the Earth and should not process?
That's why you got to move it.
So
Oh,
you've
you're
got
making
to
sense.
move
Swinging.
it.
No,
So
it's
why
not
don't
stored
all
in
of
the pendulum
pendulums do the
itself,
same? Why
Brian.
don't all of the pendulums do exactly the same? There's only the Foucault's pendulum that processes. Nothing else does, allegedly.
Gyro compasses process. That's how they work.
That it all sounds
digital.
dumb. I'm moving
Anything can be plotted into them. Anything.
No, like
They can
mechanical
be
gyro
programmed
compasses.
to do anything.
There's mechanical ones.
Anything?
You have to understand, Brian, too, that Foucault's pendulums are very carefully tooled to account for any kind of shearing motion and so on. They're built to swing precisely in one direction with very, very little friction to allow the rotation of the Earth to precess it. It's the same thing with the gimbals and the gyro compass. It's very, very low friction.
Have you worked in sales
to
before?
enable the Earth to do that.
Is it affixed to your spinning reference frame?
Well, yeah, of course. That's why you have to move the pendulum initially to let the rotation of the Earth take over and precess it, because it's fixed to the same reference frame. Conservation of inertia, right? Or
It should have
conservation of motion.
of
That is.
momentum built into it then, shouldn't it? Because it hasn't left the
No.
reference frame. Yes.
That conservation is why it processes when it's swinging.
Have you ever worked in sales before? Because
See,
this sounds
it
like
is
someone's trying to sell me
attached
something.
To whatever is turning, allegedly.
No, I'm not selling anything. I'm just explaining things.
Yeah,
No,
you
no,
was
no.
the
I'm
one who
saying
asked.
the guy who
Don't you
makes this
see the
pendulum.
fucking problem with it? It is attached to whatever is rotating,
No,
so it should
I'm not.
not process.
I'm
Yeah,
not peddling
I'm off
pendulums.
Brian, are you saying that it needs to have an independent frame of reference?
That's the only way it could process, surely. If it is attached to whatever is rotating, it will rotate with it, surely.
What
Yeah, that
gave
doesn't-
you that asinine idea that it needs an independent frame of reference?
Like if I'm in a
It's
car,
not
I'm
what
gonna move
you
with it.
lunatic consider to be conservation of momentum if it's attached to the Earth. Do you not?
I mean, I don't know about that, but I think it sounds like a ludicrous idea that it needs to have its like an independent frame of reference.
If it is attached to whatever is rotating, surely the conservation of momentum will be stored up in whatever it is, like the rest of us, you tell us. Like the plane that sat on the runway has got this conservation of momentum stored up in it. Surely the pendulum should have the same. It's still connected. It is complete and utter nonsense.
Who's this Foucault guy? It sounds like he's trying to peddle a bunch of machines, because that just sounds like a
He's
sales pitch.
He's a snake oil salesman. That's all he is. He was there. He was put in place to push this ludicrous.
Like I've worked in sales before. This guy, he's like, if you went up to a fifth grader and said, "Hey, I'm gonna kick this thing," and it's not moving because I kicked it, but we're gonna watch it move a little bit, and it's gonna prove something's moving. I don't know. Like I don't know how anybody would
Well,
buy
if you
into
gave
that.
them a bad explanation like that, then they might not believe you.
Brian, conservation of momentum. Well, the thing is, the reason it processes is because it is conserving momentum. It's staying in its original orientation. Okay, it's staying in that orientation. The Earth moves, and it tries to stay in its original orientation.
Yes, well, it shouldn't. It should not, because it's attached to the Earth.
Yeah, I'm attached to the Earth. Why don't I move?
It's lunacy. And you lot are cleverer than this. You shouldn't allow these people to fucking...
You're right,
They're-
Mabbit, if you take a
contradicting
pendulum and put in the back of like a big moving truck and you drive it in a circle, that pendulum, the plane of the swing, is going to remain fixed front to back of the moving truck, right?
Of its reference frame. It's
Don't babble out stupid terms you don't even understand. The plane of the pendulum swing will remain fixed in the back of that truck and will always swing front to back just like you let it start, right?
What we doing with the truck? Is it moving? Is it going around in a
I
circle?
told you, you're driving it in a big circle. But the plane of the pendulum is going to stay the way
Do you think so?
the original orientation front to back in the back of that truck. Right,
Have you done
Brian?
this?
You honestly...
Is
Have
that
you
what
done
you think?
think
Fuck
so?
you. Is that what you think, Mavitt?
Do you really believe that?
Have you actually done it, though?
I know
Just do
better.
that.
I know it's not, but that's what you're claiming, Mavitt.
Yeah, that's a
Goddamn
trick salesman
fucking
would use. They
idiot
would say,
bullshit.
if you did this, or if you do this, it'll actually work.
Hey, listen, B. Calls. Shut the fuck up a second. You're the one that said that it's moving because we moved it. And we are not claiming that the thing with the pendulum is that it's moving. You pull it back, you let it swing, tie it off, burn a string if you want. It moves on its own then.
Yeah,
all you did was pull back. Now listen, hold on.
No,
I'm not
hold
done.
on.
Now
No,
here's
because you're
the
already
thing.
wrong.
We're
I
not
can nail
claiming
something
that
to my
it
ceiling
is
and move it, and
swinging
it's going to stop.
because, shut up and listen. It's not swinging because of the earth. You
Well,
have
then
a
it doesn't
big
work.
problem here with the difference between the swinging of the pendulum and the precession. Do you even know what precession refers to? And do you know what you're arguing against?
I think you're wrong from the other statement you said when you said.
So you don't know.
No, I didn't even finish what I was saying. You don't even know what I was going to say. When you said you attach it and that it's going to keep moving. Well, if I attach something to my ceiling and kick it, it's going to stop eventually. So that doesn't add
I
up.
have no clue. You don't know what you're arguing about.
No,
I do
you just
remember
told
you.
me it's
I
gonna
know
stop.
you're a troll. I know that. So that's the end of this as far as I'm concerned. Everybody
You're
else,
trolling me.
resume whatever you're doing with them.
What? You're trolling me. You're telling me if I attach something to my ceiling, it's going to keep moving. I've never observed that.
Have a good day, B. Carls.
You're the troll. I've never observed that ever.
Carl, if you take 1 kilogram of water and add it to another kilogram of water, how many kilograms of water will you have?
You're asking me what 1 + 1 is?
No, not 1 + 1. 1 kilogram plus 1 kilogram.
Are you asking me what 1 + 1 is?
No, and that's a big difference. Firstly, I asked about something that you can actually do. So
We can test that, can't we? We've
yeah,
got
and
scales,
we
we've
can
got
test
water,
it, and
and
we will.
can probably, as an assumption, say that we will have 2 kilograms of water.
And that would be the problem, because there would be some water that is constantly evaporating. There would be some water that would be left in the container, on the walls of the container, and you would probably end up with 999.99 grams.
Oh man, when's the last time you did this when you took your medicine?
That's exactly the same thing, Carl, that you said that it eventually will stop.
Now, have you ever done this when you measured out a medicine or any kind of liquid where you go, actually, I need to add more because some of it's going to evaporate? Have you ever done that?
You do that constantly if you cook in something. If you want to cook 2 liters of soup, that wouldn't be enough to take 2 liters of water because you know that it will boil and it will evaporate and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why you add more water to the oatmeal before you make it.
Yes,
kind
so
of
to
like-
Unless you got a really good lid.
So that's the problem. You never can actually witness something adding up perfectly. But
Wait,
you
you're
know
talking
that
about
it's the
measurement.
case. Yeah, about the measurement. But you know that it's the case because, like, even if there is some small differences, you would still consider that 1 + 1 = 2. That's the same thing with the pendulum. Even if you know that you will leave it for long enough and eventually it will stop because there are some other forces that will, like, resist that movement. Yes, obviously.
No, not at all. That just sounds like a guy selling me a device. That sounds like a con artist.
What device are you talking about? What am I trying?
We'll
What am
call
I trying to?
pendulum. It's eventually going to stop moving, right? Because he kicked it, and then it's going to stop. And then someone's going to tell you, well, in that brief time you kicked it, it kept moving because, well, the Earth is moving.
No.
Not because you kicked
That's
it.
that's the
that doesn't-
problem. That didn't understand the initial concept. It's not moving because the Earth it's moving.
I'm pretty sure he understood it. That's why he said it wrong.
Right. You told me it's moving because of the Earth,
No.
even though you started the
No,
movement. with
and
the kick.
you say I said no. That means that you were incorrect at the
Well,
very
how did
beginning.
it start moving? Then how did it start moving to begin with?
No. You see, your statement that it's moving because the Earth is moving, it's not what we were trying to explain you. And you were arguing this. But that's not what we told you.
I don't know. I guess I don't understand.
Yes, exactly. So you can just look at, I don't know, you can check some videos and probably you would understand the difference between the swinging like up and down and stuff like this and between the precession, and you will probably understand.
Will I see it stop moving at some point?
Well, if you watch it long enough, yes, at some point you will see it stop.
Well, then why did it stop moving? That doesn't make any sense.
Friction.
So I kicked it, it's moving, I'm observing it moving, and then it stops.
Isn't that the same thing that you observe all the time when you start
Generally,
doing something?
Generally, Foucault pendulums will go for hours, and what they have is something that can record its path throughout those hours. So, as soon as it stops, you can still see the path that it took, and you can see the precession that it undertook as well.
But you still started the movement. Who's to say you didn't start it in a certain motion that would make it do that? How do they determine that factor?
When you first started, okay, you hit the 3 laws of motion. The one law is objects will move in a straight line unless disturbed or some other force is added to them. Okay.
How did you determine it was a straight line to begin with?
Well, listen, this is just Newton come up with this. Okay. Now he's a very brilliant dude. He come up with this. When you first start your pendulum, you just pick it up, pick the weight up, and then you drop it. Okay. And whatever orientation it is in relationship to that anchor point on the ceiling, okay, from where you drop it, it's going to start in that direction. Okay, it's going to attempt to go down because of gravity, but the string on it is restricting its movement. Okay, so it attempts to go in a straight line, its initial straight line. Okay.
How do we measure that straight line to make sure it wasn't going to curve over time?
Listen, as long as the friction in the pivot point is minimal, which is what a Foucault pendulum, they attempt to make them with very, very minimum friction. As long as that is really, really sufficiently low friction, this thing will keep swinging pretty much all day long. It'll eventually stop, and you can control how long it's going to go by the weight and the length of the string, and how much friction you put in that pivot point. But
well, that doesn't mean anything though. How did you determine that it wasn't going to move because you slightly nudged it? and then it was moving because it wasn't actually a straight line.
Well, listen. Things do this movement of staying in straight lines because of conservation of momentum. Okay.
No, I'm saying, how did you determine it's a straight line? Like, if I throw a curveball, it's not a
you
straight
can
line.
watch it the very first swing and see that it's straight. You can put
No, I'm not talking about the first swing. I'm talking about if I watched it on the first swing, and the second swing it moved over a little bit, how did I know from the beginning that it was a straight line and I didn't introduce any kind of other movement to it?
Hey, if you induced movement in it, okay, then every time you did this, there'd be random movement that you added to it. And then every time somebody used a Folka pendulum, they would see it do random things every single time.
Well, no, not random, because if it's such a slight movement, it's always going to move a little bit over time. I don't get it.
I understand, but with everybody on the planet doing this experiment at museums everywhere, every single day, okay, and they all get the same result, then you would think that their random movements every single day were contributing to some sort of random result. But
I don't think it's a random movement. You told me they all do the same thing. They pick it up and they drop it.
All do the same thing. So that obviously the random activity of the person who's operating the thing from the beginning isn't contributing to the outcome. Okay, if it was contributing to the outcome, everybody's fulcrum would do something different every single day. But since it doesn't contribute to the outcome, they all do the same thing.
I think you're missing the point, though, in trying to explain it that way. What he's basically saying right now is that every single focal pendulum on Earth that is functional was made with dishonesty in mind. How likely is that going to be? Do you think they really just engineer focal pendulums to fool every single person, every single one that they put in universities everywhere?
Yeah, it sounds like a salesman just upsold and made millions of dollars. That's what it sounds like, to be honest. You're telling me all this random nonsense about how it's going to move.
How can you get money from that?
How hard would it be?
A guy had to make it. Sounds pretty precise. Sounds
No,
like it's
not a guy who made it. It's just someone who who came up with that idea, but you don't need that guy to make it.
Well, if you want to keep selling it, you're going to keep propping it up.
There is nothing to sell. There is nothing
You tell me nobody makes
for.
money off of this? Nobody's ever made money off of Foucault's pendulum? Oh, how much are these things? Let me look one up.
It's just a long string with something heavy at the end.
Yeah, but the pivot point has to be a low friction pivot point. That's the main point. But how much technology be in it for everybody to get the same result, regardless of where they are on the planet? And the result would be if you look at the way that it works on the planet, at each latitude it's different. Or is it longitude or latitude? I get my latitudes longitude mixed up.
Now you're telling me it is different. So now they're not getting the same results.
For everybody along that line,
the results are commiserate with latitude. That's what it is. And every single focal pendulum at various latitudes across the Earth are showing the precession that's commiserate with the latitude.
So you have to design a device that mimics that, and whoever builds the device has to know precisely where it's going to be put so that it's going to have the correct swing in it every day, just to fool people. But if somebody, for some reason, a museum decides they want to move, across the country, or they want to sell the Folka pendulum for some reason, and somebody takes that device to a totally different location on the planet, and the person sets it up, and it magically knows now, and this thing is made out of metal, it's not made out of computer chips, it magically knows that it's in a new location, and it's going to make sure that it puts itself in the correct swing for that new location. Yeah, right. So if you believe all that, you got some fairy dust up your ass.
I'm looking at these. There's thousands of dollars, dude. Of course, someone's making money off of these. This one's $7,000 for a swinging stick and a rock.
Right. And how much tech is in that? I mean, is there any computer chips in it? Does the thing require any electricity whatsoever? What is powering this thing to give it the information of knowing where it is located on the planet so that it swings the correct way every day to fool people?
If it's that much, I imagine he's looking at something that has the mechanism to keep it swinging.
Yeah, you show me the tech that's in it that performs all those functions, then I'll believe you. But
Why does
until
it have a fuse? Why does it need all this power in it?
well, it would need power to force the pendulum to swing in the correct location for the particular point on the planet. You just tried to build a device that's going to swing and do a small rotation throughout the day. Maybe one that counters Fulcrum's pendulum. Try to sit down and build a device that does that. Tell me how much tech you have to go through to build a device that counters the Fulcrum's pendulum. You're going to spend millions of dollars trying to accomplish that.
I'm just gonna read the manual. Maybe it says in here. It says it must swing in one and the same plane. If the pendulum begins to swing in an elliptical fashion, other factors apart from the rotation of the Earth have an influence on its rotational motion. Yeah, dude, this is a con job. Like, someone's selling you garbage.
Don't
Doesn't
buy.
have
Just
one
don't
that
buy.
keeps swinging all day. You can build one that swings for a few hours with the trip to the hardware store.
It literally says in it, other factors apart from the rotation of the Earth have an influence on its rotational motion. So even in the $7,000 pendulum, it doesn't account for every factor, and it says it doesn't even work.
Museums every day can set this thing up, and every day they get the same result. Somehow they're able to every day.
But that's impossible. Did you hear what I just said?
Did you read the whole thing? Or did you just pick that one phrase or that one set of sentences? Read that first part again.
Other factors apart from the rotation of the Earth have
the
an
bit
influence
before that you
on its
read the first time.
motion. Accurate measurements are therefore not possible. Pendulum allows measurements to be carried out quickly and effectively, taking up to just a few minutes of the lesson. Move the source of the light.
The bit about being elliptical.
Renting elliptical motion of the pendulum. During the experiment, the pendulum must swing in one and the same plane. The pendulum begins to swing in elliptical fashion. That says the rest, other factors.
Right. So if it's elliptical, then there are other
if you didn't
factors
swing it straight, yeah. So if you didn't swing it straight,
then it won't work right.
Yeah. So how do you know if you swung it straight if you didn't immediately observe this reaction? Like, this doesn't even make any sense.
Watch it.
And
if
then you're gonna
goes in an
point to
elliptical
something
path,
else.
You didn't do it right.
Right.
Dude, I can
Pendulum
swing
will
something
start in a
across my ceiling
freaking
if I know it's gonna go
cradle.
straight.
You can build a cradle within the actual pendulum to house this pendulum before releasing it, and it's going to go in the right trajectory to observe
Wait.
the precession happening properly.
Now read this part. In order to prevent elliptical motion, a ring is used in Foucault's pendulum, see figure 2. At an ideal amplitude setting, the ring has no influence on the plane of the pendulum. It does, however, suppress any component of the motion that is perpendicular to the plane of oscillation at its endpoint. So now it's limiting it. It's saying, well, it's going to move, but now we're going to restrict where it's moving, and then we're going to point to
Yes, it's
something else.
limiting. As I said earlier, it's limiting the shearing forces that could interfere in noticing the precession that's going to happen. That's what that's for.
Even if you had a figure 8 pattern started, it will still process. It's just going to
That's quackery.
floppy. That's all. Even if it started with a figure 8 pattern, you would still get the precession. Okay, it's not going to be as precise in doing it at the certain degrees per hour. It's going to knock the pins down a little differently. You put the little pins all the way around. They put little piece of wood all the way around the thing, and then 15 degrees per hour it knocks a pin down. So it's not going to do that precisely if you have it in a figure 8 pattern. But if you do it where it's straight, you're going to get your timing of those pins being knocked down is going to be 15 degrees per hour.
This says even a vibration's gonna knock it off course.
Well, yeah,
Small
but how much?
vibration.
What vibration are we talking about? An
I don't know.
earthquake?
I'm just reading the operation of it.
The
Yeah,
building
I mean, you're telling me it moves slowly over time, so I'm guessing it wouldn't take much of a vibration.
Yeah, all these factors affect how accurate it will be. If you just want to see that it processes in a way that you would expect on a spinning globe, that requires a lot
No.
less precision.
So this doesn't make any sense. It sounds like you're cherry picking results, because if it has any kind of deviation from a set result that someone likes, all of a sudden it wasn't set up correctly.
Well,
No, I'm saying if you just want to see that if I release a pendulum properly, it'll process, that requires less precision than getting one to process at the ideal rate.
Who decided all this was ideal, right? That doesn't even make any sense.
You know
Sounds
what's
like
the
someone
beauty?
set it all up.
You know what's the beauty
If
with
you
this thing? Even if it doesn't process like absolutely at the exact degrees that you expected it, it would still process counterwise or clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on the hemisphere you're at that point. So even these small deviations that you mentioned, you would expect that all these deviations somehow magically will cause it rotate clockwise when you're in the northern hemisphere and counterclockwise when you're in southern. That wouldn't make any sense.
and if you intentionally try to make it process in the opposite direction for its hemisphere, over the day it would start to correct itself. Isn't that kind of weird? And the other thing is, you're worried about precision. Let's say you have a car and you tune it a certain way. Well, if for some reason you add more octane, less octane, more oil, less oil, at some point the precision of the car starts to drop off. Okay, you don't complain about a car having all these requirements to make it run, but for some reason a fucking ball on a string, you're making all kinds of, oh, it's got to have all these extra things going on. Oh my God, it can't be real.
I'm not saying it can't be real. It just sounds like a con job. Sounds like someone's making money off of this.
Car manufacturer says they'd like a certain octane for the car. I mean, is it a con job when they say use synthetic oil, not natural oil? Is it a con job when they say put the 35 pounds of pressure in your tires? I mean, think about it.
Synthetic versus conventional is kind of a con job.
Oh, well, what about Volkswagen when they said all our diesels are great? Yeah, sometimes it is a con job.
Probably not a lot of people make big money from this pendulum, but at least it can give us some fun. For example, I'm having a great time listening a guy who is trying to convince everyone that he doesn't understand the concept of a string and a weight. And like, okay, if you have problems with that, why would you even care about if like the thing is the Earth is rotating or the shape of the Earth? Like, why would that matter? Well, it's something less important probably than a string and a weight at the end of that string.
They have a lot of problem with that because they don't know what weight is. They might know what a string is, though.
I can spot a sales trick when I see one.
Are you familiar with the string theory, Carl?
What, you like string cheese? Like, I don't.
Really? So what you're putting forward here is that Foucault's pendulums are a con job.
Sounds like it.
Foucault presumably came up with a couple of 100 years ago.
Oh, not that part. Like, someone can come up with something. Like, let's say, like this new hippie age movement, right? Someone could have come up with crystals way back when.
Let's stick with this. Give me an idea of how this evolved. So Foucault comes up with this pendulum.
Maybe it collected dust.
It
Nobody thought it
work.
worked. Everybody thought he was a lunatic.
It doesn't work because it's a complete con job. So how does he get people to buy into the con job? How does that work?
No. That's where I disagree. I don't maybe think Foucault started the con, Maybe he was trying to figure
Well, he
something out
wanted
and
the
set up the
pendulum.
string. And then people called him out, maybe said what I said, saying, well, why did you kick it? Well, why does it keep moving? Or, well, why do I need to account for these things? And why is there this one result that you only find correct? What about all the other results? All these different things. And maybe he said, oh, okay, whatever. And then he binned it. And then a while later, public schooling picks up. Someone goes, oh, okay, Foucault's pendulum. I'm going to dig this up and I'm going to construct it.
But why?
I'm
Why
gonna
did
make
they
a
do
bunch of
that?
money off
Why?
this.
But why would they do that? A load of other people have come along and said, no, that's a shit idea because of this, this, and this. The guy who invented it went, oh yeah, you're right, that is a shit idea. I'll dump that. Then apparently somebody else comes along and goes, no, I'm going to pretend that shit idea is a working idea. For what? For why? How?
Money? This has worked a lot, right?
What money? I mean, what? What? Because we all own a Foucault's pendulum. I mean, how many have been sold? Do you even need to? Do you even need to buy one, or can you just make one?
I'm just telling you, it sounds like a sales trick.
Yeah, and I'm asking you about that idea. I'm asking you to elaborate on that. If you think that that's true, let's explore it. And it doesn't seem like it's open to much exploration here. It seems to fall down. The idea doesn't seem to make sense very quickly.
How does that make sense? If I want to make money,
okay,
I'm going to design a machine, like a clock, and say, hey, it's very precise. It does all these things. Here's the instructions. It costs thousands of dollars. There's money to be made. I don't see why anybody wouldn't have a reason to buy.
Who is the leading Foucault's pendulum manufacturer that over the last 200 years has used this concept to gain?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, there isn't one. There isn't one. Is that nobody's made thousands of dollars off it? That's nonsense. That's the thing. That's the problem with your idea. Your idea rests on the motivation that someone had that they were just going to use this to con people out of money, but you can't point to anyone that's actually made any money out of it. And why would you pick this thing? Why wouldn't you do something that lots and lots of people are going to buy rather than I'm going to con people into buying something that hardly anyone will ever that there's hardly going to be a market for anyway.
Did you hear what I said?
No,
it's thousands of dollars.
Well,
it's thousands of dollars. People designed 50 Lamborghinis. There's only 50 of them, but they're millions of dollars.
It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. You could make one for $10. It's just a weight and a piece of string.
7,000.
It's a weight.
$7,400.
Hello, it's a weight and a piece of string. Let me say that again. Let me say that again. A weight and a piece of string. Well, that doesn't cost $7,000, does it? So don't keep saying $7,000 as if there's a set price for a Foucault's pendulum that they're all sold for. Because that's not true, is it? That's just something you're having to make up now to make your, it's a con job and they're all motivated by money thing work.
Well, everybody's motivated by money. Everything's got a price. Yeah, I don't think you can disagree with that.
However, that idea doesn't work for this, does it?
No, everything's got a price. Anybody will sell you anything for the right amount of money.
But your idea that people just came up with Foucault's pendulum or revived the idea from Foucault's failed idea to con people out of money, that idea doesn't work, does it?
Why doesn't it?
Apparently they also
for the reasons I've just provided. You can't point to anyone that's made any money out of it. There's no reason to think that there's actually any money to be made from it. It just doesn't make any sense at all. It's absurd.
3B Scientific. They make money. This one's $7,400.
You're just going to keep saying $7,400. Okay,
there's a few of them that are $2,000, $1,000.
If you think this is compelling reasoned argumentation.
I'm saying,
I think
if
this
there's
makes
money
you
to be made, it's going to be sold.
I think this makes you look like a lunatic. It's someone who isn't capable of reasoning.
Dude, this is the most basic reasoning. If there's money to be made, someone's going to make it.
Yeah. Okay, dude. Makes a
I have
lot
a
of sense.
follow-up
Very-
question.
It's all a big con. Makes a lot of sense.
Not a big
Go ahead.
con. Obviously, it sounds like a little con, but if there's money to be made, someone's gonna make it.
Yeah, you're an
That
idiot.
doesn't mean it's dishonest, even if they are making a little bit of money.
I wonder, do you think the entire globe concept to begin with was a con job that was made up throughout the ages?
Now, this one was whatever this machine is. It sounds like a bunch of lunacy.
Well, at least you don't think the whole thing was a con job to begin with.
Silly ass.
You're trying to tell me someone wouldn't be motivated by money to make a product just because there's a small market? That's ridiculous.
And you're trying to tell us
if your
that just
motivation
because
is
someone
money,
makes
if
money
your
off of it, that
motivation,
it's a con.
if your motivation is money, you want a big market, don't you? Obviously. How is that difficult? How is that difficult to understand? You don't think I'm going to make a load of money by selling something that hardly anyone wants to buy? Do you?
Yeah.
How is
There's
that?
a lot of
Does that make any sense?
markets like that. There's a lot of niche markets that people make products for because there's money to be made. If somebody wants it, someone's gonna make it. Someone's gonna sell it for a certain price, and they're gonna make
This
money
is the
off of
thing
you.
that someone can make for $10, isn't it? Or not even
Yeah.
that. They can make it. They can make it with junk they find lying around the house. What are you talking about?
That only makes your argument worse because they're selling this one for $7,400, and you're telling me they can make it with a string, but this one costs thousands of dollars. That only makes your argument even worse.
I don't think it's going to be very nice looking in the middle of a university lobby to have $10.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so there's money to be made. Like you're telling me it can be made with a string, but they're not doing that. Sure, you can. I can make a car out of cardboard.
But now you've got to come up with why there's a con. If someone can make it with a piece of string, and someone's selling a very expensive one, you've still got to figure out where the con is.
Dude, like I brought this up with the crystals that I was going to talk about. People do this new age crystal garbage. These crystals go for thousands of dollars.
You know, the Taj Mahal seems very excessive. Why didn't they just build a little wooden shack, to put the king in?
No, obviously you want things to look nice. No one can disagree with that.
because we get a lot of money for
It should be free for things to look nice.
No, I don't disagree.
You have to pay for things to look nice. It's a con.
No. I'm just saying if there's money to be made, someone's gonna make it.
Right, but
you're also saying they're doing it dishonestly.
Right.
Yeah. I just read the manual.
Nobody's denying the free market economy, are they?
Yeah, I just read the manual. It sounds retarded.
Brilliant. Very
So,
compelling argument.
Could you repeat it once again? You read it and it sounded retarded.
Yeah, it's saying
Were
it's
you
moving in all
reading
these
that out
directions.
loud?
It's moving in all these directions, but if you don't do it the right way that we like it, it's not actually working. And we only have this one result that everything must follow. And if it doesn't follow that result, that means you did it wrong. Like that just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you think you might sound ridiculous?
I'm not selling a $7,400 piece of string on a rock.
I understand that, but do you think you sound ridiculous?
I don't care. I'm not buying this pendulum.
Okay.
It's got no effect on me.
Well, the hot news is you do sound ridiculous.
Sure, I'm not
Letting
I'm not the one advocating for buying this thing or saying that it
giving
even
you
works.
that news update.
Well, it doesn't bother me.
Actually, you was the first one who brought up that idea of buying it.
Yeah, because I said it's this whole thing sounds like a
no
sales
one even
trick.
thought about the possibility to buy it. You was the one.
Yeah, I did. I did
Yeah.
because I said it sounds like a sales trick because it sounds like they're BSing you.
Except no one is selling that and no one is buying that. And you're discussing the possibility of buying or selling something that no one is buying or selling.
People are buying and selling it. I just listed a price to you. I don't understand what you're saying.
We're saying you're mad. You're mad, dude.
I'm not mad.
You are mad.
Why would I be mad? I didn't buy it. I didn't waste my money on this garbage.
You're a lunatic, Matt.
I'm not the one kicking something and saying it's moved not because I kicked it. Like,
you're a pathetic troll.
Yeah, you're rubbish. Now I've got a question. If anybody wants to weigh in on it, this Rob Skiba thing. He has a live stream from Sunday on his channel.
does he sell Foucault pendulums?
No, but apparently he's in hospital dying of COVID, and yet he's got a live stream on his channel from 2 days ago.
It's anybody telling you they're dying of COVID just wants attention, especially if they publicize it.
It's him chatting.
On the live stream?
It's him chatting with someone. It could. I mean, it might have been pre-recorded. It's a possibility. But